What's going on, everyone? I am back today with a brand new video doing something quite fun. I apologize for missing the last couple of days. The whole family got sick, including myself, so we've been dealing with that. And, well, I just couldn't get some videos out. But we're here with something pretty fun in Double Red Pre-Vizsla. That's right, we're playing one of the worst leaders, or perceived as one of the worst leaders, in the Set 3 pool. But we're going to have some fun. So before we dive into the list, see what we're doing here, just want to mention big thank you to my patrons supporting the channel, and of course, just hanging out, playing games with me, and hanging out in the Discord. And also I have a TCG player link in the description down below if you want to use it for any of your Star Wars Unlimited card needs. Let's talk Pre-Vizsla and what are we even doing here. So many of you probably don't even know what Pre-Vizsla does at this point, because we've talked about him and that no one's ever even mentioned him or really played with him at all. But he has this action to pay 1 to deal damage to a unit equal to the number of cards you've drawn this phase. However, this does not include the cards drawn at the start of the regroup phase, or in the regroup phase rather. This means that you have to draw a card some other way. We have a few different ways to do that, but to be honest, we don't really care about that as much as we care about the flip side, which is an epic action, 5 to deploy, and you get a 4/6. 3 or more cards in your hand, you get Saboteur on that leader. And then if you have 6 or more cards in your hand, you get +2/+0. So you can get a 6/6 here. So 4/6 is already a pretty reasonable body for 5 resources. I don't mind that. A 6/6 is absolutely insane. A 4/6 Saboteur is what you're most likely to end up with. We have a bunch of little tiny ways to accrue card advantage, including our base, the Shadow Collective camp, to draw us a card when we deploy our Pre-Vizsla. We also have things like I Am Your Father, Aggression, to just randomly draw us some extra cards throughout the game. I Am Your Father is kind of interesting because almost always people are going to say no. And if they do, then we get to essentially get to that 6-card point. So I Am Your Father is kind of like just a straight up removal option in this deck, because most people are not going to say no because it's going to pump our Pre-Vizsla, and alongside Shadow Collective camp almost guarantees us to get to that 6 cards in hand for Pre-Vizsla. Same thing goes with like Aggression. If we ever miss a turn of plays or anything like that, or heck, we don't even play something on the turn we can play Pre-Vizsla before we attack, we can get to that 6 cards with Aggression plus Shadow Collective camp, which could be pretty nice. But overall, we are just playing a bunch of Mandalorians alongside Pre-Vizsla. Combo that with the Darksaber, we're going to pump them up and get in a ton of damage and hopefully do some good work. We're just curving out, playing a few upgrades to pump up our Pre-Vizsla, playing the Mandalorians on curve, and then our late game, we've got Wild Rancors, Ruthless Raiders to kind of close out the game or take control of the board again. A couple of removal options like Open Fire, and, well, it's kind of I Am Your Father, depending on the situation. And that's the deck. We'll see what we could do here, and we'll see if Pre-Vizsla can actually show up and do some work. All right, starting us off, we got ourselves a match against Director Krennic with ECL, and I'll be honest, guys, this is going to be a tough one, okay? Double Red Pre-Vizsla is not a meta deck, so we're going to see what we can do with this one. Going to mulligan this one, and ended up with a pretty nice hand, actually. I don't mind twice the Pride normally, but unfortunately, in this hand, I think we're going to have to resource that. And I think we want to resource either the Heavy or the I Am Your Father. I think we'll go ahead and resource the Heavy, actually. Because you might want to go just Bo-Katan into Bo-Katan, which could be kind of interesting. We'll see. There is a Royal Guard Attaché, which is unfortunate because it's a 3/3 in Director Krennic. So can just straight up kill our Bo-Katan, which is quite unfortunate. Darksaber is a pretty reasonable draw. We'll probably just end up playing a Bo-Katan here. And, well, seeing what we can do with it. Resource this Silencer. They're probably going to trade. Or maybe they'll play something that makes it difficult for us to do something to their Royal Guard. But I wouldn't be surprised if they just straight up kill it. Yep, we're going to play a Bo-Katan. Part 2. And what's interesting about this one is Pre-Vizsla is a Mandalorian, so we could actually give this Bo-Katan Overwhelm Saboteur, and then he's also a Trooper. So we'll give Bo-Katan Overwhelm Saboteur and +1/+0, which is pretty sweet. And here we're going to resource probably just a twice the Pride. And here we're just going to aggression, draw a card, deal damage to the phase 3. And as I said, if we... Ooh, they're going to play a Black Sun Starfighter, so I will go ahead and attack for 2. If we don't play anything the next turn, we will be able to deploy Vizsla and then immediately be able to get to the 6 power, right? Because of the Shadow Collective camp, which is pretty sweet. So they're going to go with a Gideon. Okay. Yeah, Gideon. Get some value there, huh? Not too bad. Let's go ahead and deploy Vizsla. Ooh, aggression was a nice draw. Really, really good draw, actually. Because I think what I want to do is... Do I want to draw a card, deal 4? Yeah, let's go ahead and draw a card, deal 4. Deal 4. And then I guess we can go Bo-Katan plus Darksaber next turn. We're going to hit them for 6. And they're going to hit us, which makes sense. I don't think he'd want to go ahead and do anything differently necessarily. I think we could resource this heavy. We have a lot of random stuff going on, lots of Darksabers. To be honest, I'm a little bit worried because if they have like a power of the dark side, this could get a little bit sketchy. So let's go ahead and just deploy out that Bo-Katan here just in case they have a power of the dark side. They could be playing something like a Rival's Fall, which could be a little bit scary because they could just kill Vizsla, and then we are in big, big trouble. I could have played Darksaber last turn to kill the Gideon, but if I did that, this would have gotten up to 9, right? So I would have killed Gideon, but it would have been at 2 power or 2 toughness, so Krennic could have finished it off. And we're going to go with Darksaber on our Vizsla here, and we're going to hope that our opponent doesn't have Rival's Fall, right? I went with Bo-Katan first for the purpose of power of the dark side. I know it shrinks down my Vizsla, but the Darksaber is better than just getting the 2 extra power on Vizsla from his ability. So I think it was pretty relevant to avoid power of the dark side and be able to get this Darksaber down. So I do like where we're at. If our opponent has a pretty powerful play this turn, it could swing back in their favor for sure. They had a pretty decent start, right? Royal Guard Attaché is one of the most important ones. And look at that. There is the power of the dark side. Resupply. Let's go ahead and claim initiative. And like I said, disabling Fang Fighter, probably not what we want here anymore. We're going to go Mandalorian Warrior, just put an experience on Vizsla. But as I said, power of the dark side, really avoiding that whole shenanigans where we just completely lose our Vizsla. They're going to play a Darth Vader. What's cool about this guy is this has Saboteur, so we actually bypass any sort of Sentinels that they may have. So as soon as we go ahead and, I don't know if they're going to hit Vizsla or they're going to hit Mandalorian Warrior, but we can just hit their base. And they have to take initiative. They are forced to take initiative here. Because we just claim if they attack us at all, and we can just kill them. So they have to take initiative. Saboteur coming in clutch against this Pike Sentinel. Love it. Hopefully they don't have a power of the dark side, because if they do, it's doomed. Oh, man. Pretty close matchup, I'll say. But Vizsla getting in some work here. Not sure what's taking so long for my opponent here. They have to claim initiative. Okay, we're going to go ahead and kill Darth Vader. And then we're going to pass. And if they have any sort of power of the dark side, then we are dead. Like, we are probably not dead, but we are probably going to lose the game. Probably. 11 power can go down to 9. There isn't really much. Like, if they have a vigilance, let's say they heal 5 and we still one-shot them with 9 power. So we'll go ahead and just resource a Darksaber here. Have you drawn the second power of the dark side? Have you got it? Opponent's taking a little while to think about this one. But hey, there's not many things that can deal. And look at that. We just end the game. GG. Absolutely crushing, to be honest. We were in a dominant position the whole game, and that Shadow Collective camp coming in clutch, getting that extra 2 power, and then staying at that point where we actually go ahead and have the potential to have Saboteur throughout the whole game, but also that other aggression that we drew, really clutch and getting that extra 2 damage. Not that it would have necessarily mattered since they had 27, but still. Darksaber on Vizsla, getting some massive work done against a pretty tough deck to beat, especially with one of their best turn 1 plays. On to the next one. Into our next hand, and we got ourselves a pretty good one. I am not going to mulligan this. We're against Yoda Green, which could be a little bit scary. But I mean, we have a good start, right? We got Bo-Katan in the resource pile, and honestly, probably this Fallen Lightsaber. I don't know. Twice the Pride could go on Punishing One, which could be interesting. So I think that's what I want to do. Bo-Katan into Punishing One would be pretty nice. Looks like we got a fan in the game, so thank you, good sir. We'll see what can happen here, though. We'll see what can happen there. This is usually more of a pretty controlling deck. Yoda Green is controlling / ramping into Yoda, which could be usually pretty good, but honestly, this is one of those decks that actually can kill it before they can get stabilized. Similar to like Sabine, because you can go Darksaber on Vizsla and then just smack them for like 1,000,000 damage. And Bo-Katan here, we've had it, in these games, and it comes down. But so far, our opponents have had, the 3/3s to stop it on turn 1, which is really quite unfortunate. But we're going to go ahead and get in the damage into their base immediately. And if they want to go ahead and play something or do whatever to kill off the Bo-Katan, that's fine. Or if they just want to trade their Battle Fury, that's fine too. Ooh. Yularen, huh? Okay. Yep, that's pretty good. We're going to go ahead and get down that Punishing One, and we are going to head into the next turn. They're going to use the Yoda action. Makes sense. Yularen, this is one of the strengths of Yularen right there, is normally in these types of situations, well, your opponent, okay, if they play a Yularen, it's not a huge deal because, well, your unit's going to die anyways, as long as we can deal with the Yularen. But in a situation like this, where, okay, the next unit that we play has to have some way to survive the Battlefield Marine attack, or the Yularen just gets massive value, well, that's going to be a problem. Fortunately for Heavy, it does survive Battlefield Marine, and when Yularen hits it, it will go ahead and kill the Yularen, so that could be kind of nice. And, ooh, Wing Leader, huh? Ooh, boy. Okay, so I think here what we'll do is just deal 4... draw a card. And then we get to ready up the Punishing One again. And we'll hit their base. No reason to hit the Wing Leader here. We have double Darksaber, which could look pretty good if they weren't unique. But I didn't want our opponent to go ahead and go too crazy over there with that Battlefield Marine. So I could have gone down Heavy, but in that spot, again, Yularen keeping that Battlefield Marine alive allowed them to Wing Leader over onto that Battlefield Marine, which looks just absolutely nasty. So unfortunate about that. So here, we don't have the ability to get to 6 power, because if we play this Darksaber on the Vizsla, we will drop down to 5 cards after dropping Vizsla on the battlefield. Let's hit in with Punishing One immediately. They're going to go ahead and use Yoda's action. Okay, we're going to go ahead and deploy out that Vizsla here. Double Ruthless Raiders, excellent. Very good way to finish off the game. Ooh, what do they have? Luke. Wow. That is disgusting. Well, that's probably game. GG, I think, because they're going to go ahead and restore. Yeah, I don't even know if there's anything we can do. What an amazing card. This is one of the things that makes Yoda really exciting, by the way. You're my only hope, alongside some cards like Luke, for example, playing these so early on in the game. But I mean, there's not really anything that we can do in this spot, right? I mean, we're going to still play it out, but ooh, boy, was that just disgusting. Makes sense why they attack with Wing Leader first, right? Get that killed so they can one-shot my pre-Vizsla. There's not too many things that can one-shot pre-Vizsla like that at that stage of the game, but, well, Luke, after a unit has died, can certainly do so. We still have some potential here because our opponent could attack the heavy with Luke. Still not a great spot for us to be in, but then our Ruthless Raider can finish off the Luke and hit them for 2, and they're in a pretty, not horrible spot, but they are in a pretty rough spot, I'd say. Oh, Obi-Wan just makes it so brutal. I mean, what can we do here? Because we play Ruthless Raider. You see how Obi-Wan just makes it even worse. Yeah, I don't think we can win. We'll just go ahead and play it out, I suppose. Hit them for a little bit. They've had an amazing curve. Like, every single thing that they did perfectly dealt with kind of exactly what we were trying to do, right? Turn 1, they had the 3/3 to deal with our 3/3. Turn 2, they had the Yularen to actually kill our 3/3 and not worry about, future things coming down and providing a ton of pressure. And then they had the Wing Leader so that we had to kind of deal with the battlefield. Otherwise, we just lose the race. And then they had the You're My Only Hope into Luke. This is some real good potential out of Yoda. It's one of the reasons why Yoda still one of those decks that I think people should be paying close attention to. But yeah. What can we do here? So they can restore 4. Actually 6 because of Yoda. I mean, there isn't really anything that we can do. There is not really anything we could do. If we had kept the open fire, we would have to play Ruthless Raider and then open fire the Luke, which isn't even possible in this turn. Yeah, I think we've ran out of options. We will just go ahead and concede. Good game to our opponent. Nicely done. Into our next matchup, we've got ourselves the Bo-Katan Tron, the full of 3 of in our opening hand. I think we mulligan this one. Otherwise, I'm just resourcing 2 Bo-Katans, and it's not even one of our best turn 1 plays. This one's a decently better hand. I think I'll resource the open fire because this is not a deck, Thrawn Blue that usually plays a ton of units that open fire really does well against. I think I'd rather go Bo-Katan into Death Watch and have the option to go Disabling Fang Fighter depending on what they play here. So yeah, we're going to do that instead. There goes Bazine. And I suppose they might take Bo-Katan here. Well, we drew into Housecast Soldier. So we'll just play that out then. Next turn, we got ourselves Fallen Lightsaber, Twice the Pride. I think we'll resource the Twice the Pride in this spot. Let's see what my opponent has in terms of removal options. They probably have Power of the Dark Side just sitting in the wings. They probably got the Clients. Probably have like Childson's next turn, things like that. They're going to exhaust something, huh? Okay. They're going to reveal the Inferno 4 on top of their deck. All right, that actually is totally fine with me. Getting in for 2 damage isn't that big of a deal, and I'd much rather them exhaust something and then play a 2-resource play and not deploy a 3-resource play. Because 3-resource plays are a lot more scary, to be honest. Let's see if they decide, nope, they're just going to hit our base. I was wondering if they're going to decide to hit one of our units. Kind of some awkward draws here. I think in this spot, do I want to hit the Bazine to get an extra power on this thing? That actually makes a decent amount of sense. I think I will. I think I will hit the Bazine just to get an extra power and remove one of their units from being in play. But we'll see what what they've got. I don't think the 3 damage is going to be incredibly important here. Let's see what they have. All right, they have Perilous Position, Cargo Juggernaut, Perilous Position. Okay, so we get Disabling Fang Fighter, or we could just put a Fallen Lightsaber on our Housecast Soldier and kill the Childson here, which is going to work out quite nicely. And I'm going to do this because if I just bypass it, then it puts us in a pretty bad spot where the Deathwatch Loyalist gets killed, and then they can just Perilous Position away this guy. So we haven't drawn any cards, so there's no reason to use that ability. We'll just go ahead and pass. I Am Your Father could be interesting. I don't think is going to be the thing we play this turn. I think we'll resource the Wild Rancor. This is a situation where I Am Your Father is most likely just going to be a removal option, since our opponent doesn't really care about their units. I'd be surprised if our opponent doesn't just go ahead and put Perilous Position down. I mean, they could always go ahead and just exhaust my unit continuously, but I think you should just go ahead and kill it. Deathwatch Loyalist getting in for 4. Foresight, huh? Interesting. Okay, I will go ahead and I Am Your Father this, and if they want to say no after they put another upgrade on this, that's fine. We're going to draw and then have our pre-Vizsla be a 6/6. If they say yes, then boom, suddenly we are in business, and we get a 6/6 pre-Vizsla, which is going to be absolutely awesome. And that's exactly what happened here, so love that. Let's go ahead and deploy ourselves a pre-Vizsla. Draw another card, and they're going to claim initiative. We're going to put twice the pride on ourselves on our pre-Vizsla here. They have a Perilous Position, but that doesn't actually kill pre-Vizsla, and we can actually put Darksaber on our Deathwatch Loyalist and put a Bo-Katan down, which gives multiple counters out, which could be very, very interesting for us. This ended up being pretty nice. I was thinking, okay, we'll just play the Disabling Fang Fighter and we'll play out the Housecast Soldier and just deploy to our board. But as soon as they put a Foresight, I'm like, I don't know if they're going to want to sacrifice the Inferno 4 and the Foresight. And if they do, that's totally fine. It's a fine play. We don't get as much damage in, but I think they should have defeated their Inferno 4. I think that was a mistake from our opponent, although they could have something big, and Rival's Fall ends up working out pretty nicely for them. We're going to go ahead and just drop a Darksaber on our Deathwatch Loyalist here, and then we're going to play out a Bo-Katan and get that rolling as well. They're going to go ahead and get the Thrawn going. We're just going to attack for 8, and they can attack here, because if they do, we're just going to take initiative, and we get to go ahead and deploy out another Bo-Katan here. And we'll see what they've got, right? Rival's Fall was a really nice answer. Normally, these decks are not playing a Rival's Fall, but hey, they had the Rival's Fall, and I mean, that's a pretty good situation for them. Let's just see what they have as a result after that, because they have to deal with the Deathwatch Loyalist. They should still have the Perilous Position in hand, because they revealed 2 earlier, and they only used 1 on us so far, unless they resource 1, which probably isn't the way to go, but they could have certainly done that. There's the Perilous Position, sure thing. We're going to go ahead and hit them for 3 here with this Bo-Katan. You play Perilous Position and you put it on the Deathwatch Loyalist, unless they have something else, right? I guess they could attack with Thrawn and see what happens after that. Like they attack with Thrawn, try to reveal a card, and then exhaust my Deathwatch Loyalist, which could be... Ooh, no. Okay, yeah, that's what they're going to do. I was thinking, that's weird. I don't know why they're doing the attack or the trigger on a Bo-Katan. That makes a lot more sense what they ended up doing. Let's just go ahead and drop in a Ruthless Raider, hit them for 2, and hit their Thrawn for 2 as well. But now they put themselves in a little bit of an interesting spot because... I mean, it's better to do what they did anyways, because they get the maximum amount of damage prevention. But we're still in a reasonable spot because if they deal with my Death Watch Loyalist, then we get to claim initiative and we get to go ahead and deal a bunch of damage to them. And this way is the same, right? They play a Cargo Juggernaut and we get to deal 8 to them with their Death Watch Loyalist. And that's pretty massive because, again, this Ruthless Raider is going to hit them for the last final 2 points of damage. So we're looking pretty good here. I don't think Van Bryce Flamethrower is going to be the one to go for here. But we're just going to go ahead and Death Watch Loyalist here. I don't know if they're naming with Foresight, but hey, we're just going to hit them for 8. And if our opponent has a Super Laser Blast, they die. If they have like a Vigilance, then they could still live potentially. But then we will hit them with Ruthless Raider. If they kill our Ruthless Raider, then they die. So they have to have something that kills and heals them. They could exhaust it with a Thrawn attack, which could be interesting. They're going to reveal Ruthless Raider. Okay. In that case, what we'll do is go ahead and... what do I want to play here? Do I just play a Disabling Fang Fighter? Yeah, I'll just defeat the Foresight off of this guy. I'm doing this because I think my opponent has something else that they're going to be able to play here. Otherwise, I could just take initiative and then either of my threats could kill, but they have nothing else, and if they take initiative because they can't win, then we just play IG, and unless they have a Super Laser Blast, they're not going to deal with all my threats. And if they have a Super Laser Blast, they die to the Ruthless Raider. So I feel like we're still in a pretty amazing position. I think taking initiative here is a little bit weak. So they're going to take down here. I think, considering I have another Ruthless Raider on top, because they revealed my Ruthless Raider, which is a really good reveal from them. They have 4 resources. There's not a whole lot that can go ahead and heal them out of this. So I think I'm just going to claim initiative and we'll see what my opponent has here. Yeah, Perilous Position doesn't quite do it. And they're going to concede. So yeah, pretty interesting one. Rivals Fall. Again, usually this is like a 1 of at most in a lot of decks. So for our opponent to drop that Rivals Fall on our pre-Vizsla was actually sad, considering he was a 10-4. But that I Am Your Father into pre-Vizsla draw. I think our opponent in that situation should have just, got their Inferno 4 killed. If they had done that, then instead of taking 10 points of damage, they would have only taken the 8, which is still a lot of damage, right? But it wouldn't have been as close and as aggressively pressuring the life total that they so preciously need. But very interesting. And on to the next one. Into our next matchup against Luke. And normally I would keep this hand, but unfortunately our turn 2 play does not synergize with our turn 1 play. So I think I can mulligan this. And oof, that is an awful hand. Like, just atrocious. Double 6 drop, double 4 drop. We do have 12 turn 1 plays in the game, in the deck, but that is on the lower end. I think it's like a 94% chance to hit it when you're mulliganing between the 2 hands. And we did hit 1 2 resource play, but also to not hit any 3 resource play besides like an event is pretty brutal as well. So what I'll do here is I will pass because our opponent takes initiative. I'm okay with that. And if they play nothing, but if our opponent gets to play something and then we just have to take initiative, it is rough. It is pretty rough. I'm hoping that our opponent just takes initiative in response to us passing because they think we have some sort of bounty that we want to play on their unit. And maybe they just want to get to their Luke deploy as well, which would be reasonable. Nice thing about this matchup is Pre-Vizsla has Saboteur as a baseline, so we can actually deal with a lot of shields. They're going to go ahead and play an Arc 170, so nothing too crazy there, but still. Ugh. Drew a 6 drop and an upgrade. Yeah, this is not going well. This is going pretty horribly in this game. We have a lot of 3 resource plays as well, and again, we have a lot of 2 resource plays as well. This is just a really awkward hand. We'll see if we can bring it back against this Luke deck, but I do not have that high of a hope right now that we will be able to. We're just going to open fire the Arc 170, and I guess we'll see what they have on this turn. Village Protectors, huh? Let's go ahead and claim initiative. And there are 2 resource plays. All right. Well, we could go double 2 resource play, or we could play a heavy. I think actually I am interested in going ahead and playing the Bo-Katans because one of them has Saboteur, which is pretty relevant. That it can go ahead and just kill the Village Protector straight up. So let's go ahead and go Bo-Katan here, or a Housecast Soldier, and then Bo-Katan. And we also have Darksaber, which synergizes with Pre-Vizsla pretty nicely. They're going to attack here, huh? Interesting. Okay, let's go ahead and play the Bo-Katan as well. They're going to claim initiative here. Okay, so pretty weak turn 3 play for our opponent. But we had an extremely weak turn 1 and turn 2 play. So we'll see if we can come back in this game. We do have the Darksaber here, which usually is pretty good, but we'll find out. Jedi Lightsaber here, huh? Oh boy. I suppose we will just go ahead and defeat that. Ooh, and they played a Moisture Farmer, so we can take out the Village Protectors without losing our Housecast Soldier. And we get the Overwhelm through. Okay. And we'll deploy out this Pre-Vizsla. We'll go ahead and hit their base, and then we'll go ahead and hit the Moisture Farmer just to kill it. Did not have a way to go ahead and play out a 2-resource play there, unfortunately. But the Sabling Fangfighter came in clutch. We have a ton of Mandalorians here. A ton of them. I think we go Darksaber on Pre-Vizsla. Interesting. So we will go ahead and hit Luke. Just to get some experience on cross everyone. Ooh, and they have... Wow, what a nasty play. They have the Luke's lightsaber and the Jedi lightsaber. How gross is that? Our opponent has absolutely everything. They have the double... Wow, they're just hitting our base, huh? Interesting. Okay, let's just go ahead and hit their base then. Wow, what a gross play. Our hand has been really awkward this game, but the Luke's lightsaber and the Jedi lightsaber on Luke, I was thinking, okay, they're going to play a Jedi lightsaber, sure. And then we can go ahead and just attack their Luke so that if they attack the Pre-Vizsla, it ends up working out for us. I don't think they know how Pre-Vizsla works because we get Saboteur and basically everything here. Do they know that we have Saboteur on everything? I don't think they know. Okay. GG. I thought their opponent was going to do something else. If they had just immediately killed the Pre-Vizsla as a response after playing the Luke's lightsaber, I was thinking, okay, we'll trade Pre-Vizsla and we'll trade one of these units to kill off Luke. Because if they keep the Luke's lightsaber or the Jedi lightsaber around, they could just start killing all of my units. Maybe it would have just been better to hit their base for 8. But I don't think we would have had the steam to go ahead and finish off the game, considering that we barely got it done here. But yeah, our opponent had a really nice recovery plan, and then they kind of just ignored our units and went for the base, which was a little bit awkward, considering every single one of our unit had Saboteur, right? Any Mandalorian gives this Overwhelm and Saboteur. This gets Saboteur. This has Saboteur. We have 3 or more cards in our hand. The Sentinel does absolutely nothing. And I will say, that is one thing about this deck, is that there's a lot of random Saboteur, and a lot of people forget about it. I don't know if they forgot about it, or they just didn't care, or they just wanted to lose, or what, but... Nice one. Let's move on to the next. All right, and now we're moving on to the next one. We got ourselves a match against Anakin Blue, it looks like, and we'll see how much work we can do here. Man, the Housecast Soldiers and the Bo-Katans really doing work against things like Village Protectors. Some of those cards can really stump any normal aggro curve-out deck, but our deck's pretty good against it. Gonna mulligan that first hand since... didn't really have a turn 1 play. This one's a pretty good one. We got ourselves Bo-Katan into Mandalorian Warrior, which is always solid. Our opponent unfortunately has the Anakin draw, which is R2, kill your Bo-Katan and keep my R2 alive, which is horrible for us, but that's okay, I guess. Not much else that you could do about it, to be honest. They're going to go ahead and kill my Bo-Katan. And this is what makes Anakin extremely powerful. Very, very powerful. If we had the initiative, this would have been a completely different game, but this is kind of the difference between initiative and not having initiative. It just completely changes the whole game. They have an open fire as well. Okay. Open fire is a lot less scary than something else, like a some sort of let's go ahead and draw and deal damage. Some sort of unit, right? I would have been much more scared of some sort of unit being played there. Yoda comes down. We're going to go ahead and claim initiative. Let's see if they have Force Throw. Force Throw is also really good against us simply because, well, we want to get to 6 cards in hand. See what my opponent has. Let's see if they have something like, Force Throw, huh? There's the Force Throw. They can deal 2. We're going to go ahead and put a Dark Saber on our Vizsla. Let's see if they have a Perilous Position. Do you have the Perilous Position? They've had a really excellent hand so far. Not like it was insane, but certainly a solid one. It was definitely on the higher end against our deck, right? The ability to go ahead and drop in that Force Throw off the Yoda and then get the R2 to survive that hint is really, really important for everything that they did so far. So it's interesting because I want to get down these Mandalorians before I attack, but unfortunately I can't do that because if I do that, then they get to get rid of my Vizsla by using Anakin's action. So we can't really afford them to have any units on the battlefield. And, well, we're going to go punishing one in the Mandalorian Warrior. And I'm assuming they're just going to take initiative and kill my Vizsla with the Obi-Wan. Oh, that's one way to go about things. I'm a little bit surprised they decided to do that, to be honest, but okay. Because we do have Saboteur on this guy. Not that this is a winning game at all. This is like a completely losing game. Just because of that early turn 1 play of them having the R2 that killed our turn 1 play and we had nothing, and then turn 2 they went open fire, right? It completely ruined our entire game plan. At this point, we really can't do anything, right? We're going to go on an attack for 3. They can go ahead and like use Anakin action to kill my Wild Rancor with Poe Dameron. And then it's like the game is completely over, right? Anakin just makes every unit a threat. Every single unit is a card that we have to deal with. Because if we don't, then they can just one-shot our leader. Right? K2's one-shot our leader. Yodas have the Force Throw. So if they have Force, they start killing things. And then Yoda can hit for 4. Things like Obi-Wan can hit for 6. Things like Poe Dameron hit for 8. It is absolutely crazy at, some of the damage that this deck can pump out. And we're playing the Fallen Lightsaber here just to see if our opponent's going to go ahead and defeat it with the Poe Dameron. Defeat the Fallen Lightsaber. Sure. The game is 100% over. How are they going to make me discard the last card in hand, huh? Okay. Let's go ahead and claim initiative. I'm surprised that they're not just hitting our base with Poe Dameron. I think that was a mistake by them. If they just hit our base with Poe Dameron, we would have been stuck at 8 damage, so 19 on our base, and they could just one-shot us with the Poe Dameron the next turn. Not that it was a really mistake. It's just there's not really anything that we can do here. But GG. Our opponent with the R2 turn 1. The fact that their R2 lived is what is what really kills it, is because of that +2 damage. It makes those turn 1 plays from Anakin really, really scary because, again, the 1-4 becomes a 3-4 and it just kills all of our turn 1 plays. Absolutely nasty. Into our next matchup, and it looks like we're running it back against the Anakin Blue, although this time it looks like we have initiative. And if we had initiative last turn, or last game, it wouldn't have been perfect by any means, right? And to be honest, we probably would have ended up in the same spot because our opponent would have gone open fire on our guy, and then we would have attacked their R2 with Mandalorian Warriors. So we would end up with like no units on the battlefield, but at least it would have been better than what we went through. Let's mulligan this one and find ourselves a little bit of a better hand. I actually like this hand. Let's resource the Silencer and the Housecast Soldier and start us off with a Bo-Katan here. Decent turn 1 play. Let's see what our opponent has. Definitely got to be afraid of the Force Throws. Definitely got to be afraid of any unit that Anakin plays. They've got an Arc 170. Okay. Don't mind that one all that much. There's a Twice the Pride, a Fallen Lightsaber. I think I'll go ahead and resource this Twice the Pride, because I'd rather have the Fallen Lightsaber. And I think I'm just going to go ahead and get in with the attack with the Bo-Katan to start us off, and then follow it up with the Death Watch Loyalist, probably. Opponent could have like open fires. They could have village protectors. They could have all sorts of different things. Let's get down that Death Watch Loyalist. Let's see if they have an open fire. They have a Sabine Wren. Okay, let's go ahead and claim initiative. Force throw here. Okay, so they're going to force throw me. So they did have the force throw. That keeps us a little bit off the pre-Vizsla plan a little bit. I think here what I'll do is just kill the Sabine Wren for kind of free, because I'm going to get that Grit power up. And then hopefully they play like a K2, so I can go ahead and like kill that and then draw a card off of aggression. I know I could ready up a unit, but I think I'd rather draw a card because I want to stay within the 3 cards for pre-Vizsla. I did go ahead and resource some of our cheaper units because I'm looking to play like Fallen Lightsaber or like a bigger spell on that turn. They're going to go ahead and get down a Cassian, huh? Okay, I think what I'll do is just play our I Am Your Father on Cassian. And if they want to, they can let us draw 3. And then we can use our action to deal with the Arc 170, which is pretty interesting. Nope, they're just going to kill off the Cassian. And they're going to daring raid our guy. Sure, so they've had a very, very solid early game hand. And we're going to follow that up with a pretty good hand of our own, I think, at this point. I think what we want to do first is just deploy pre-Vizsla just to see what we draw. Wild Rancor. Really hoping for like a Darksaber there. Let's just go ahead and attack in with Bo-Katan here. They're going to pass, huh? What do I want to do? Do I want to put a Fallen Lightsaber? I think I just want to go Mandalorian Warrior on pre-Vizsla. What do they have? I was thinking Fallen Lightsaber, but this is the less downside play, right? If they have some way to deal with pre-Vizsla, then we still have a 3/3 body. Okay, I will 100% kill that Yoda. They're going to claim initiative. We're going to pass. Another Mandalorian Warrior, punishing one, a Wild Rancor still in our hand. I could not resource anything and try to climb up to 6 cards so I can get +2/+0, but I don't think that's going to be really possible with the force throws that our opponent has, right? That with just 1 card discard makes us basically unable to get to that point. I think here what I'll do is just go ahead and I have to go all in on pre-Vizsla. They didn't show that they had an answer for pre-Vizsla prior to this, so I think I'll just go Mandalorian Warrior, pump up our Bo-Katan here, and then Fallen Lightsaber on the pre-Vizsla. So that way we have the 1-shot on Anakin if he deploys it. And then we can go ahead and just attack them for a bunch here. So Anakin would have 8 power if we attack. So then they would trade with this. I think that's fine. I think I will attack here. So we got a bunch of attacks in. They're going to force throw here. We're going to get rid of aggression. They can go ahead and hit our Bo-Katan for 4, for example, if they want. So they had the force throw, which is excellent for them. Wow, they had triple force throw. What a disgusting. That is absolutely disgusting from our opponent. My goodness. All right, well, that is going to change things. I did not expect, I was thinking, okay, they can deploy Anakin, they can kill our pre-Vizsla, but if they have a force throw, sure, but they had the triple force throw draw, and they kept it all. That was an extremely risky play from our opponent, but it paid off for them in this case, so good one, I suppose. All right. Let's go ahead and just... I guess. I mean, I have to kill Anakin because otherwise we're taking way too much damage. We go draw, deal damage. Oh my gosh. The force throws were absolutely insane. We're going to go ahead and hit. We're going to hit. They have to claim initiative or they have to have some way to deal with Bo-Katan here. Because they just die. Do we still win after the triple force throw on Anakin? Is the question. They had to have drawn something pretty good because they did not resource anything. They have to be top decking something to help them with this Bo-Katan. They have to have something like a Sentinel or some sort of perilous position or something like that. They're going to claim initiative. We're going to go ahead and play a Bo-Katan here. And we're going to pass. Darksaber could be interesting here because we could put it on one of these other units to finish out the game. This Bo-Katan does have Overwhelm and Saboteur. They're saying GG. So either they got something to kill us or we are going to hit them with this Bo-Katan. I can't believe they triple force throwed us there. That was absolutely nasty from our opponent. Whew. Brutal. All right, they don't have anything, so we're going to go ahead and hit them for 4, and that's going to be a GG. So a little bit of a different situation for us there. This is one of the big differences. Our opponent didn't have a ground unit to deal with our ground units. Unlike our first Anakin Blue matchup, they had the R2 to go ahead and kill our units and keep their unit around. But in this game, they did not. Let's move on to the next matchup. All right, and to finish us off, we got ourselves a match against Lando. And it's only fitting. It's only fitting to finish it off against another deck that's like pretty meme, okay? We've got double red Bo-Katan or double red pre-Vizsla against red yellow Lando. Both these decks are considered pretty weak. So I think this is a pretty good one to finish it out on. Let's go ahead and drop in that Bo-Katan and let's drop a Mandalorian Warrior to follow it up, and let's see what we've got on their side of the battlefield. They've got Tarkin Town where we have the Shadow Collective camp. So Tarkin Town significantly stronger. Wow. Okay, well, they're like out of cards already. They are down to 1 card in hand. They've got Unmasking the Conspiracy. I mean, I guess they just take the Mandalorian Warrior, to be honest. I don't know. It's pretty weak all around from them. I'm not going to play the Vampire's Flamethrower, even though that would be sweet on the Soldier of the 501st. I'm just going to kill it because if I did that and I attack their base and try to kill the Soldier of the 501st, they could just attack it and then Tarkin Town away my Bo-Katan. So I think I'm just going to go Bo-Katan here, part 2, and we'll see what they have. They better have something good because, I mean, they discarded a 4 resource play, right? The K2. Ooh, Jesse, huh? Okay. Interesting stuff. I'm going to resource that Mandalorian Warrior, and I am going to kill their Jesse. Aggression was a nice draw. Very nice draw. Jesse also pumps up my Bo-Katan, so that's pretty sweet as well. Let's go ahead and just replace that that card in our hand. And I'm going to do this first because I'd rather them not kill my Bo-Katan. So now they're out of Tarkin Town. They have no units on the battlefield. We have the Bo-Katan and the 2 battle droids. They can get down Lando, but Lando coming down doesn't really do a whole lot. And I actually will go ahead and hit Lando for 3 because it kind of seems like a free attack where our leader is going to be massive compared to Lando. And ooh, there's the Millennium Falcon. They are going to have to defeat a resource after that. And I'm assuming they're going to attack in with Lando. So I'm just going to attack their base for 1. I could be wrong about that. Nope. They're going to attack in for 2. So now they're going to be kind of stuck on resources for the rest of the game. And ooh, Darksaber looks pretty good here. So does Vambrace Flamethrower, though. Maybe I just go with the Flamethrower. I don't mind that at all, to be honest. I think I like the Flamethrower here. Flamethrower plus Housecast Soldier gives me the ability to kill Lando and deploy another Mandalorian for Darksaber to outrace the Millennium Falcon. And our opponent's going to be stuck on these 4 resources if they continue to use Lando's ability. So I'm kind of curious on what their solution here is, because we will definitely outrace them. Of course, we do have to play it a little bit careful. Let's see if they decide to kill our Bo-Katan. If they do, then we might go with a different plan here. Ooh, Hotshot Blaster comes out. Okay. So they're going to use Lando's ability to essentially get a free Hotshot Blaster out. Let's go Vambrace Flamethrower on the pre-Vizsla. And again, I'm doing this so I can get in damage and hit the Lando. Wow. Okay, so, I mean, they're doing some big damage here, right? Surprise Strike coming down. And the Hotshot Blaster. They are racing us pretty hard here. Let's go with the Silencer. Attack, attack, attack. And we'll pass. So they could attack for a decent chunk here. Resource the punishing one because I don't think we really care about that. Ooh, they're going to attack with Millennium Falcon first. I think that was a big mistake because I will just go ahead and trade with their Cartel Turncoat here. Greedo, huh? Ooh, Darksaber on pre-Vizsla. And I mean, opponent is dead to this exactly. Yep, they are gone and done for. So we're just going to go ahead and attack. We could play out the Housecast Soldier first, but not that it really matters here. We'll go ahead and just deal 3, get an experience over on Bo-Katan, and that's going to end the game. So our opponent might have been able to have something like a For a Cause or something, so which is why I wanted to play the Silencer and potentially trade with a Cartel Turncoat, but there you go. Pretty close one, honestly. Our opponent had a really aggressive start, and the Unmasking the Conspiracy kind of disrupted our plan a little bit. And they ended up using the Lando ability for the Millennium Falcon. This is literally the best card to play. Like, if you're going to play a Lando deck, you better be playing, like, Millennium Falcon on turn 4 or turn 3 and playing it for the 4 resources off Lando. Because if you're not doing that, then, like, there's not many other cards that are really good. Another good card with it would be that Hotshot Blaster. So, like, if you're playing these kind of cards, awesome. If you're playing other types of smuggle cards, they're usually pretty bad. But that was absolutely fun with pre-Vizsla. Let's talk about the deck here at the end of the video. All right, so what have we learned with pre-Vizsla? Well, first things first, we actually did pretty well. Now, we did have that one game against Anakin Blue where we absolutely got slapped. And to be honest, that should be your expectation. Okay, I've played a bunch of games before I started recording, right? Just like I normally do. Just testing the deck, tuning the deck, and things like that. And we were fighting against things like Ray Red, things like Django Red, things like Sabine Green. And there are definitely situations where you just get absolutely slapped. So don't think that this is one of the top tier decks or anything like that, or that it performed exceptionally well. Because if you go against like a Django Red and they exhaust your pre-Vizsla after you put a Darksaber on them, you're pretty sad. I'll say that much. But it's not terrible. It's definitely like a B tier, to be honest. I've been decently impressed. If you're able to get the Darksaber down, you're able to get pre-Vizsla attacking, then it's pretty nice. One of the big things, one of the big advantages of this deck is the Saboteur. There are a lot of shielded units. Something like a Housecast Soldier or a lowly 2/3 with Saboteur completely decimates Village Protectors, like completely decimates it. It just kills Village Protectors and keeps your unit alive, and you don't even need to use 2 attacks for it, right? Bo-Katan, same thing. It has Saboteur if you control another Mandalorian unit, which we will with things like Deathwatch Loyalist and Bo-Katan. Disabling Fang Fighter, very reasonable as a main deck card, right? It can go out and kill Perilous Positions, other Darksabers, things like that. Aggression is always good. We have a nice little Mandalorian synergy. I Am Your Father actually doing some work in this deck, but Pre-Vizsla, honestly, usually the strength just comes from the fact that he is Saboteur, and when you put a big upgrade on something that has Saboteur, you just guarantee a bunch of damage, and a lot of bases are 25 HP, so usually Darksaber, like 2 attacks will finish out the game for you. So you attack with Pre-Vizsla once, next turn you attack with it again, and the game is over. So pretty sweet there. Very, very cool deck. I think you could do a lot of different things with this deck. You could go more into like, okay, I'm just gonna guarantee Pre-Vizsla being a 4/6 Saboteur, and then just run like Tarkin Town and not play a bunch of the Mandalorians. Like play Bo-Katan if you want to, play Daisy Living Fang Fighter if you want to, and the good Mandalorians, but then just play other better 3 resource plays and things like that, instead of just trying to really hedge into the Mandalorian synergy. Mandalorian Warrior is a good card, but there are a lot of other good cards out there that might be worth playing just by the fact that they're good over the Mandalorian synergy. One card that I thought was pretty sweet in this deck was I Am Your Father. You saw a lot of those games where I Am Your Father just ended up being 7 damage, right? Just ended up being 7 damage instead of the draw 3. Normally, it's the opposite, right? Everyone wants you to draw 3 and doesn't allow you to kill your units because it's a tempo advantage swing, and usually that's what Star Wars Limited is all about. In this deck, it turns 3 resource, give me 2 power to my Pre-Vizsla, and that's a huge deal, and allow me to draw 3 cards where I can also use the Pre-Vizsla action to go ahead and deal 3 damage to something, right? We didn't actually use Pre-Vizsla's action a single time because it didn't matter. We didn't really draw a card alongside Pre-Vizsla. Like, we didn't go, as far as I remember, I Am Your Father into we can use Pre-Vizsla's action because we need to get Pre-Vizsla down, or we didn't have enough resources, like we went aggression on 4 resources or things like that. So it's really all about the flip side, and the Saboteur is usually what you're getting, but it ended up doing pretty nicely. So hopefully you all enjoy the deck, and let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching. Again, apologies for missing a couple uploads. Still a little bit sick here. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all for the next one.